me being a little bit confident in all of my abilities, I told him, of course I can. So he threw me up there on the mound, and I honestly, to this day, threw the best bullpen of my life in that very moment.
Welcome to episode 382 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. We have another jam-packed show with tons of news and a trio of great guests, so let's get right to it. And as always, we'll start in the big leagues. It was another fantastic outing for Calgary's Michael Soroka over the last week. The Arizona Diamondbacks starter got the call Friday night against Philadelphia and allowed 4 runs on 5 hits and 2 walks, but he also struck out 10 to lead the Backs to a 5-4 victory. Soroka made history in that outing, joining Randy Johnson as the only Diamondbacks pitchers to record multiple 10-plus strikeout performances in their first 3 starts. He's now 3-0 on the season with a 2.87 ERA and 23 strikeouts. He'll likely start Friday at home against the Toronto Blue Jays. It was bound to happen, but Edmonton's Eric Sabrowski was finally touched up a little bit in a relief outing with Cleveland. The absolute human performance star allowed a 2-run home run to J.J. Weatherholt and ended up striking out 2 in a 6-5 loss to St. Louis on Tuesday. Sabrowski now sports an ERA of 2 to go along with 14 strikeouts and 9 innings of work. And it's been tough sledding for Dogs Academy and Okotoks Dogs alum Tristan Peters. He's had 2 hits in his last 13 at-bats and is now hitting .225 on the season with 1 RBI and a stolen base in 16 games with the Chicago White Sox. In the minors, Bigger native and Vauxhall Academy alum Garrett Hawkins also had his first blemish of the young season. He allowed a run on 1 hit and 2 walks in Wednesday's 14-1 El Paso win over Round Rock. Hawkins is 1-0 on the season with a 1.69 ERA and 6 strikeouts in 5 relief appearances. Dogs Academy product Matt Wilkinson was doing tugboat kinds of things again on Tuesday night. In his second start of the season with AA Akron, he went 4 1/3, allowing 1 run on 6 hits and a walk while striking out 5 in an 8-7 win over the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. St. Albert native and Dogs Academy alum Eric Hartman had a week to remember with the High A Rome Emperors. He had home runs in 3 of 4 games, and he's now hitting .238 on the season with 6 RBI and 4 stolen bases. Calgary's Cohen Aiken is off to a solid start with Frederick Keys, who are the High A affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles. He's pitched 2 1/3 of scoreless baseball, allowing just 3 hits and no walks while striking out 6. And St. Joe's product Nathan Flewelling continues to do well in High A with the Bowling Green Hot Rods. The Innisfail native clubbed his 3rd home run of the season Wednesday night, and he's now hitting .345 to go along with 8 RBI in 9 games. In the college ranks, big congratulations to Medicine Hat's Evan Morrison on being named the Great Plains Athletic Conference Player of the Week. He hit 5 home runs during the week to break the Hastings College single-season record. Overall, he went 9 for 23 with a double, 17 RBI, 11 runs, 2 walks, and 4 stolen bases. Another big performance this week from Simon Baker had him being named the Kansas Jayhawk Community College Conference West Division Player of the Week again. The Cochrane native and Weber Academy alum is in the midst of an outstanding season, including this past week where he went 11 for 16 with 3 triples, 4 homers, and 13 RBI. And what a week it's been again for Carter Clarout. The Prairie Baseball Academy alum and Lethbridge Bulls slugger continues to be a massive force with Bellevue University. He went 12 for 19 with 3 doubles, 4 homers, and 15 RBI over 5 games, including 2 homers and 7 RBI in a game against Dakota State on Tuesday. They have another 4-game set against that same school starting on Saturday. Not to be outdone, Vauxhall Academy grad Steven Andrachek was also on a tear last weekend. The Midland Community College slugger went 5 for 7 with 5 walks, a double, 2 homers, and 10 RBI in a 4-game set against Clarendon College. And quite the season being put together by Edmonton's Jacoby Hamer at McCook Community College. He's hitting .393 with 13 homers, 60 RBI, and 8 stolen bases in 41 games. In the CCBC, Prairie Baseball Academy has moved into top spot in the standings with a 15-3 record after a quality week. Okanagan College falls to second at 10-2, while UFV sits third at 10-5. Edmonton Collegiate is now fourth at 9-7, while the University of Calgary Dinos are 5-9, sitting in 8th. It was a busy week with PBA taking a 4-game sweep over VIU, while Edmonton took 3 of 4 from the Dinos. Then on Wednesday, PBA beat the Dinos 10-7 and 15-8. This weekend, Edmonton's home to TRU, PBA hosts UFV, and the Dinos travel to UBC. We'll hear from Declan O'Kane of PBA in just a few minutes. On a CCBC side note, a big congratulations to Braden Morris of the Edmonton Collegiate Hawks. He became the program's all-time hits leader this past weekend. Another big weekend of tournaments in BC for Alberta high school teams. The Okotoks Dogs 18U Red and White team won gold at the Best of the West Icebreaker in Kamloops, while the Black Gold 57's 15U AAA squad took their division title at that same tournament. On the commitment front this week, Caleb Paquette of AHP Academy is going to Garden City Community College. Kylan Huff of the Calgary Bucks heads to Trinidad State Junior College, while his Bucks teammate Brady Dimiturco has committed to Danville Area Community College. And in Saskatchewan, Martin Academy product and Regina Red Sox catcher Peyton Ackerman is ready to head to Canada College. In other news around the baseball world, the junior national team's extended spring training trip to Dunedin is underway. Several Albertans and Alberta-trained players are there to face several MLB minor league teams over the next few days. We'll chat with a few of the players after their return. A great announcement made by the Lethbridge Bulls this past week as they're teaming up with the City of Lethbridge, Tourism Lethbridge, and Sport Lethbridge on declaring the city baseball's home. This as the city gets ready to welcome a whole bevy of events at the end of May. Up in Calgary, the annual Girls with Game YYC event has been scheduled for May 23rd. It's going to be a big one this year as Fort McMurray product and friend of the show, Sydney Berry, will be the special guest. And they also say a major announcement for girls baseball in Calgary is also coming. We'll keep you updated on that as soon as we hear more. Stay tuned to our websites as well, as we are about ready to start rolling out WCBL team previews. This has become a popular series for us over the last few years as we highlight some of the rosters and coaches going into the summer. Again, head to albertadugoutstories.com and saskatchewandugoutstories.com for all the info. FYI, the first one drops on Friday. Time to take a breather here on the show, and when we return, conversations with Declan O'Kane, Ryan Kucy, and Shari Reiniger. This is Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. MLB outfielder Denzel Clark wishes he had the road to Okotoks growing up.
I just remember days when we were younger, junior national team trips was kind of just like, yo, if we played you guys, we would smack you. We're talking like us being the Mets, talking to Langley Blades, talking to Okotoks, talking to these guys. We're talking like, yo, we are going to like put the work on you. But it never happened. Now that it's actually going to happen, you can put the money where your mouth is now. It's exciting to hear about.
The Road to Okotoks, July 14th to 19th. Get your tickets at theroadtookotoks.ca. Welcome back to Alberta Dugout Stories podcast, and it's time now for some conversations. We'll start things off with Prairie Baseball Academy slugger Declan O'Kane. The Ontario native is in his third season with the Dogs and leads in several stat categories. Overall, he's hitting .347 with 6 doubles, a triple, 4 homers, 26 RBI, and 5 stolen bases in 18 games. He's leading an offense that many thought would be vaunted this year, and coupled with a strong pitching staff, the Dogs are now pacing the CCBC. Here's our conversation with Declan O'Kane. Declan, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Off to a great start with Prairie Baseball Academy. The numbers speak for themselves, so I'm always curious, how are you feeling about the year you're having so far?
Yeah, I'm honestly not too worried about individual stuff. I'm just glad that we've gone off to a pretty good start. So, yeah, it's nice to be able to contribute. But we have 7 or 8 guys in the lineup right now who are just kind of hitting the ball well. So it's makes it pretty easy for me to just stay loose and see what I can do kind of thing. So, yeah.
For sure. What's been key to that success on a personal side of things, and maybe getting into that moment of zen where you're like able to just kind of focus on hit ball or see ball, hit ball?
Honestly, just not thinking too much, just going up there with, a clear mind and just knowing that I'm able to hit the ball hard, and it's been working so far. So, yeah.
Now, the number that kind of sticks out to me anyways is that 4 home runs right off the bat. We're only a few weeks into the season now. Was that something that you were hoping to bring to the table this spring?
Yeah, I mean, only hit 1 last year, so I was hoping to maybe get a couple more on the board. I wasn't not going to say I expected to have 4 already, but yeah, I mean, not really going up there trying to hit a home run, just trying to hit the ball hard, and playing in Lethbridge, sometimes the wind helps out a little bit. So, yeah.
You take them as you can get them, for sure. I mean, it sounds like you're very much a team-first guy. Let's talk about the team. Riding high as we record this, 13-3 on the year. What are the vibes like in the clubhouse right now?
It's been awesome. It's really fun going to the ballpark every day with those guys, and we have a lot of confidence right now. I mean, our starting pitching has just been lights out. So for our hitters, it's been pretty easy to score a couple runs, and you feel pretty confident that we're going to be able to get the win when one of those four guys gets on the mound. So yeah, it's been awesome. We're having a good time.
Mm-hmm. Is that maybe a big difference between last year's team and this year's team? Is that starting pitching seems to be really finding its stride early on in this campaign?
Yeah, it's been huge. I mean, last year we still had good starting pitching. I would say we had a couple of really good players who are playing college now, but yeah, this year it's been pretty fun to watch them go out there, and two freshmen too. It's pretty fun, and Zach and Sean, they've been unreal. So then you have River and Fitch, who I've played with for 3 years now. So it's fun to see them have success as well. So yeah.
From a hitting perspective, what's really been working for you guys? Is there anything really different from last year at all, or has it just been, hey, we're familiar with one another, so we're just going to keep it rolling?
Well, we had a pretty good year last year at the plate too. I think we pretty much led in every stat last year, but yeah, it's kind of the same thing this year. Was 1 through 9, and then even the guys off the bench were super deep. So we have confidence in everyone, and yeah, just guys getting on base, and then middle of the order's been able to get some extra base hits. So the runs have been coming pretty easy for us right now.
Mm-hmm. You've been through this a couple of times now with PBA. What are you telling those younger guys, those freshmen, as you get them ready for what can feel like both a marathon and a sprint simultaneously as we head over the next few weeks here heading into CCBC World Series?
Honestly, not too much. They're pretty. They seem pretty good with everything right now. Like if they need help, I'll be there for them. But honestly, it's just being. I'm good friends with pretty much everyone on the team, so. It's not really, when I'm talking to the freshmen, it's not mostly about baseball. It's mostly about like just random stuff. So they've been awesome though. So don't have to worry about them too much. So I'm not saying too much to them, but yeah, they've been great. So it makes it easy on us.
Absolutely awesome to hear. How do you keep things rolling, both personally and as a team, as we head towards this last month of the season?
Yeah, just keeping things simple, not getting ahead of ourselves. Like I said, we've had a lot of success, but just about staying consistent and staying loose. And we've shown that we can win. So hopefully those wins keep coming.
For sure. And speaking of wins, what would it mean to you to bring home a CCBC championship for Prairie Baseball Academy?
It'd be awesome. I mean, me and the older guys have been talking about it for a while now, and we thought we had a pretty good shot last year, but fell short in playoffs. So it'd be awesome, and just getting one for Hub again and the coaching staff. I know Hub's won a fair share of his back in the day, but it's been a while, so getting another one for him would be pretty amazing.
Absolutely. I love getting into the baseball origin story here. So you're originally from Ottawa. How do you get into baseball in the first place?
Yeah, kind of just like a generic story. Like, kind of just got signed up for it. My dad was a huge baseball guy, so yeah, like 4 years old, just playing t-ball, and then I was always hockey and baseball growing up, and kind of just stuck with it, and yeah, we're here where we are today.
What was it about the game that made you go, I want to chase that? Because it would have been really easy to take the usual Canadian route and go hockey.
Yeah, I mean, I played like competitive hockey and baseball up until I was 16 when COVID happened. So I wasn't really sure which one I was gonna follow through with. Like I played pretty high level hockey too, so it was a tough decision. But the summer of COVID, I kind of had a good season. That was like my first year of actual like travel ball, so kind of just stuck with it then. And I love it. I've loved it my whole life, so pretty easy decision.
For sure. When you look back on the young career to this point, do you have a favorite memory or moment that stands out to you where you had to take that step back and go, this is pretty cool?
There's a couple. I think my first game with my high school team, Watson Elite, or I think my second game actually, I hit a walk-off home run with them. That was my first home run on like a full-size field, and just like with the new team, and that was pretty cool. And then I'd say playing in against CSN my first year down in Vegas, facing guys throwing like 94, 95. That was kind of a culture shock, saying like, I got a long ways to go with this game to get to that level. So, but I'd say those two. And guys playing in, I've been pretty lucky to play in some cool games. Played in the CPBL All-Star game one year where I think I was 16 or 17, and my first at bat was against Jonah Tong. So that was
cool.
that was a cool one. But yeah, I've had a couple.
That is fantastic. So how is it that a guy from Ottawa ends up at Prairie Baseball Academy in Alberta?
It's kind of a crazy story. I took a gap year after my grade 12 year, and was hoping to go down to the States somewhere. Was talking to a couple schools, and nothing really came from it, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. And I think I committed here in July before the September I came down, so it was pretty late in the process. But Hub just knew Greg Hamilton. I was able to be coached by him because I played with Ty Hamilton, his son, in high school. So Hub and Greg were good friends. So I think Greg just reached out to Hub and kind of went from there.
Very cool. How's that experience been? What's PBA meant to you in your development, not just as a ball player, but obviously as a human being too?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've met some of my best friends here just throughout the 3 years. And it's kind of a funny story. Like, I drove out here this year from Ottawa, so and I was able to stay at a guy I played with my first year in Winnipeg. So just small connections like that, like you don't really realize until you need them. And it's been awesome. Like, the coaching staff's been unreal for me. And you kind of have to grow up when you come out here and you're far away from home. So it's been great.
Mm-hmm. On the flip side, we all know baseball is a game of failure. What's the biggest challenge or hurdle that you've had to overcome?
I'd probably say after my first year, I was playing summer ball and I tore my PCL in my knee. So I was out the entire fall and winter my second year. So just kind of having to go through like rehabbing that and stuff, and kind of having to play through the pain of the first couple weeks was tough, but we got through it and we're doing well now. So I'd say that, but I'm pretty lucky to,
For sure.
Yeah.
A few fun ones for you before we let you go, Declan. First off, what's your walk-up tune?
Right now I got it's called Mrs. Right. It's kind of just a funny one, but I've used a couple different ones. Last year I used what's it called? It's a Justin Timberlake song. I don't know. I like the upbeat ones walking up there, so I like to keep it fun.
Keep it fun, keep it loose. That's the way to go, especially. Any superstitions or rituals that you have to do, whether it be before, during, or after a game?
Not many, no. I'm not too superstitious. I kind of like my thing I do in the box before I step in, but that's about it. Nothing too crazy.
So walk us through your inbox routine. What are you doing? Because I've got mine. It's a tap of the top of the plate, a tap of the back of the plate, a couple of fake swings, and then in I go. What's yours?
I kind of do a little swipe of the dirt, and then step out, take a swing, and then I go top left part of the plate, then bottom right, and then I'm ready to go.
Very cool. And finally, when you're back home in Ottawa, what's the first meal you want your parents to make?
It's a tough one. My mom's pretty versatile in the kitchen, so yeah, I don't know. She's pretty good at everything. Maybe a steak on the barbecue, but yeah, she's pretty good with everything in the kitchen. So
It's funny how I ask a lot of you college players that, and the first thing your mind goes to is a steak because you know you're not getting it when you're at school.
No.
So I can totally respect that. Two more before we let you go here, Declan. First off, for those young kids who are just starting out on their baseball journeys and they want to get to where you're at now, what's that one piece of advice or those words of wisdom that you want to impart upon them?
yeah, I'd say just keep it loose, keep it fun. You're playing the game because you love it, and sometimes you kind of get wrapped in all the mental side of things. But the most important part is just enjoying it and making friends and stuff. You kind of have to take that for granted when you're younger, I'd say. But just working hard and having fun, you're gonna have success, I'd say.
For sure. And the final one: what does the game of baseball mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. It's been a huge part of my life, pretty much my whole life. So, not sure how much longer I have playing it, but we'll working hard and trying to make the most of it every day. And it's meant a lot. I've met so many good friends over the years, and I'm super super grateful for where it's taken me.
Well, we're grateful for the opportunity to get to learn a little bit more about your journey, Declan. Again, congrats on all the success you've had to this point, continued success at PBA and beyond. And again, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Next up, it's time to catch up with Ryan Kucy. We first got to know the Edmonton native and AHP Academy product back on episode 229 of the show, and obviously a lot has changed since the middle of 2023. He went to Northeastern Junior College and then to St. Bonaventure University, where he is now suddenly a senior, and he's also switched positions from infielder to reliever, where he's twirling it as a submariner. He's 1-1 with a 7.36 ERA in 9 appearances, striking out 6 in 11 innings of work so far. How did he find himself on the mound is the big question mark. We'll get that answer with Ryan Kucy. Ryan, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks again for having me. I appreciate it.
Hard to believe it's been 2.5 years since we last caught up here on the show. You and I randomly happened to cross each other a couple of years ago at the end of the WCBL season as well, when you were with the Edmonton Prospects. We'll get into that in a minute, but in particular, life's changed quite a bit. I mean, you're a senior now at St. Bonaventure. My first thought is, where's the time gone? Secondly, aside from that, how's everything going with the Bonnies this season?
The Bonnies are great. Like, it's a great team, great program. We've had a little bit of struggles here and there at times, but for the most part, like, we're playing good baseball. It's just that we're coming up short. Like, we've got so many just one-run games that we've lost, like, come on the wrong end. But, for the most part, we're playing some solid ball. We're just, the A-10's a tough conference, and we're playing some good competition, but we're going down with a fight every single time. But so we're looking to hop out on the other side here coming up, so.
For sure. Still a month left in the season, so lots of time to turn things around. When we first got to know you, you were an infielder. Here you are, entering your second season as a utility man, and it appears as though this is the first full year where you're primarily a pitcher. Take us back to the beginning on this development. When did you first start thinking about making a transition?
Personally, it wasn't even like a decision that I wanted to make. The whole story is kind of crazy. It had a kind of a crazy ride, committing to Bonaventure as a third baseman, and I just always wanted to be a guy on the field to make a difference in play. So last year we had a lot of injuries on the staff, where Michael Selena drafted in the 4th round. He tore his UCL against Tennessee. We had a couple guys with back injuries, shoulder injuries, and we were lacking some depth. And one day I was just playing catch at our indoor when some pitchers were throwing some pens, and I was just, as an infielder, having to throw from a lot of different arm slots. I was just kind of goofing around a little bit, keeping the game light, and then decided to throw a little bit of a flat ground with another infielder, just to mess around a little bit. And my pitching coach actually noticed that I was throwing pretty submarine, and then he was talking to me, asking if he thinks I could do that on the mound. And me being a little bit confident in all of my abilities, I told him, of course I can. So he threw me up there on the mound, and I honestly, to this day, threw the best bullpen of my life in that very moment. With subbies at like 84, 85 from like a really low arm slot, had good depth on my slider. My sinker was sinking. Like it was really good stuff. And then also talking to the coaching staff and stuff, they liked what they saw, and then eventually gave me the opportunity, and then worked on it over the summer. And here I am, first year as a full-time pitcher now. So yeah.
That is absolutely insane. Did you know that you had that in you? I mean, like, I think you maybe pitched a couple of games with the prospects at one point, like just as sort of like a mop-up guy. Was this something that was even crossing your mind at any time? Like, hey, maybe I could do this at some point?
I mean, at the Division I level, I thought there was zero chance that I was going to be a pitcher. I mean, for the prospects, I was kind of the guy who was just in there being like, well, if you need to throw strikes, like I can go up there and put the ball over the plate when you need. So try to do that, and then had some success in the WCBL doing that, but never really took that as like a, holy, maybe I can actually do this like at a high level, like higher level. And like even being like a shortstop, third baseman, I had an average arm, like usually like 87, 88 across the diamond, but I didn't know how well it would translate to a stop position on the mound, just stop and go, but found a way, did some training with AHP, and then kind of learned how to pick up some velo, get some pitch shapes, and then it all kind of worked out for me.
Was it a tough adjustment in the early stages, like just trying to get over that, I'll call it the mental hurdle of going from, okay, this is a bullpen session that I'm going to try out to, okay, I guess I'm in a game and here we go?
Honestly, my very first outing was against George Mason last year, and it was one of the coolest moments in my life. Like, my family was there to see me, like, make my pitching debut. Like, it was really cool. But, like, the mental aspect wasn't really there because as, like, a third baseman, having to make that 120-foot throw across the diamond and try to hit the first baseman in the chest, now splitting that in half where I'm 60 feet away, and also I have the mind of a hitter being like, I know what I don't want to get in this certain situation. It honestly just made it easier because if a guy's crowding the plate, I'm going to try to throw it low and in, up and in, where he can't really get the barrel there unless he's sitting dead red. And then 0-2, kind of like having like a really good chase pitch. It honestly, the mental wasn't really there for me at the start, but as you start to focus more on mechanics and pitch shaping and all like the different scouting reports that we get, like the mental aspect has come up a little bit more, but from the start, it was pretty much just go up there and compete.
Is it tougher given that you're doing it submarine style? Because at least with overhand or three-quarter, you've got guys you can kind of mold your game after, or guys know what to do when it comes to the pitching staff side of it. It's not like everybody's walking in with a sidearm or underhand. Like you're doing something totally different that way.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty unique. There's not many guys that I'm able to watch throw from my slot. But, I mean, that's just been my natural arm slot my whole life. Like, even when I play the infield, like, I'm always throwing from, like, shoulder height, hip kind of height. So, I mean, it was just natural for me. So it wasn't really hard for me to command where I wanted to throw the ball. But definitely when I was trying to focus on, like, more mechanically how to actually be a pitcher and, like, try to mirror someone's mechanics, that made it a little bit more tricky where I kind of had to, like, pick and choose from different guys what I liked, what I didn't like, and then see what kind of works for me. So
how does that work from a pitch repertoire perspective? Like, did you go in going, I want to throw heat and a slider? Did you go, hey, show me some things and we'll see what actually lands over the plate? Like, walk us through how you've developed your own pitches.
So from an arsenal standpoint, I now currently have a sinker, sweeper, and a changeup. Right from the get-go, in my mind, I was like, I'm a righty. A lot of stock righties are playing at like the mid-major Division I level, so that was kind of like my goal of what I wanted to have, just sinker, slider, fastball, or four-seam slider, fastball. And then I always just knew that for my arm slot, it's going to be an uncomfortable at bat for hitters, so decided to take away just like a four-seam from my arm slot and decided to go more to a two-seam sinker. And then my arm slot plays really nicely with that, where it just drops off the table. Same with my changeup. And then working with a pitching coach, my slider was not very good at the start when I needed to figure out like a put away pitch. And then he kind of helped me with like some like cues, like what I should feel where I should like have my eyes adjusted to, like where I'm looking when I'm trying to like get it to break a certain way. And then with some practice and just some touch and feel, I figured out how to get a really good sweeping slider as a really good put away pitch, and I can also adjust it so it's a little get me over if I need to land it for a strike. So arsenal wise, I was pretty much just whatever they want me to have, I'll have. I just wanted to be out there to compete and give my team a chance to win, and whatever they called, I was like, okay, I need to learn how to throw that, and then I just did.
That is very cool. And the ability to adapt has got to be just next level in that case. Who do you lean on in those situations? Is it guys back home like Taylor? Is it your coaches down south? Like, who was it that kind of helped you further yourself along to the point that you felt comfortable enough to get onto a mound and pitch to live batters and do it at a pretty high level?
I'd have to give most of the credit to Taylor and Ethan at AHP. Taylor was also a guy who threw for my arm slot. So always taking his brain, telling him what something feels like, how it's working, how it's breaking. Just taking his brain really helped me understand like feels and stuff like that. And then more so on like the overall pitching mechanics, Ethan Elias was a really big help for me, and just figuring out how to move my body like a pitcher, how to train like a pitcher, and then also how to recover as a pitcher. So Ethan and Taylor definitely get all the credit for any success that I had as a pitcher.
Very cool. As you head into the last few weeks of the season here, do you have anything you want to accomplish? Any goals or expectations of yourself as you head towards the end of May?
I just want to, go out there and continue to compete. I've got a very low amount of walks right now, knock on wood. My strikeout to walk ratio is pretty good, so I'd like to keep that where it is, improve on that a little bit more. Obviously, I'd like to have the lowest ERA I can possible, lowest whip I can have possible. But, I mean, overall goals other than individual goals, like I just want to win. I want to go out there with my guys, go to battle every day, and just find a way to take away those one-run losses and turn them into even one-run wins. I just want to go out there, compete with my guys, have fun, and just, cherish the time that we have playing together. Just can't take it for granted.
For sure. And speaking of, it's crazy to think you're graduating soon. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. We were just getting to know you kind of thing. When you look back over your collegiate career, whether it be at Northeastern or now with St. Bonnie's, do you have any favorite memories or moments or things that you really cherish from your time?
Oh, 100%. I mean, all of the memories I have from junior college, not so much baseball related, but more so like team related, just being with those guys. Like those guys that I met at JUCO will be friends for life. They'll be at my wedding, all that kind of stuff. Like those are just lifelong friends. And then more so at St. Bonaventure, just the experiences I had there. One of the two experiences that really stick out to me was getting to start against, at the time, the number one ranked University of Tennessee Volunteers. That was just a surreal experience for me, stepping out in Knoxville at night, playing in front of thousands of screaming Volunteer fans, and just going up there to compete against some guys who were like really high draft picks, Liam Doyle, Marcus Phillips, all those big name guys who got drafted pretty high last year. That was a pretty surreal experience for me, where it's kind of just like got to take a minute to appreciate where your feet are at and just take it all in. That was definitely a surreal experience for me. And then also, like I mentioned earlier, when I made my pitching debut, when my family was here to see me pitch, like that's something I'll hold very special and close to me like the rest of my life. That was just that was a really good feeling, really good moment, and I pitched well, so it was really good.
The perfect moment indeed. Final one for you, Ryan, before we let you go. What's one thing you've learned that you'd love to pass along to those players who are just starting out on their collegiate careers, or maybe they want to get there one day? Now that you've lived it, you've got the benefit of 20/20 hindsight, what do you want to pass along to them?
I mean, the biggest thing I could say to like even a younger version of myself is always just go out there, have fun, compete, and your main goal should always be, try your best, do your best, get the stats that you want. But at the end of the day, the goal of the game is to win. And if you go 4 for 4 with 4 nukes, you can still lose 5-4. You just gotta find a way to go out there and have fun and try to win with your friends, and always never take the game too serious, because at the end of the day, it's a child's game played by grown men. So at the end of the day, just cherish your time, cherish where your feet are at, and always just have fun. It'll be gone before you know it. So yeah.
We've cherished the opportunity to catch up with you after almost 2.5 years here since we last caught up. Ryan, congratulations on the success. Congrats on the successful transition to being a pitcher. Continued success the rest of the season at St. Bonnie's and beyond. And again, thanks so much again for joining us back here on the show.
Thank you again, Joe. I appreciate it.
We'll take one more break here on the show, and when we come back, Shari Reiniger is back to share her World Baseball Classic experience. This is Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. Want to get your business or organization noticed on the top baseball podcast in Western Canada? Have a big sale going on or an event you'd like to promote? Drop me a line at joe@albertadugoutstories.com and let's talk about elevating your brand here on the show. Prairie Baseball Academy is looking to bring a CCBC World Series crown back to Alberta. They're on home turf again this weekend against the UFE Cascades, then welcome Okanagan College May 2nd and 3rd. Check out their schedule and more at prairiebaseball.ca. Welcome back to the show, and we'll wrap things up this week with a longtime supporter of all we do and someone we actually visited with back on episode 60 of the show, back when we were in double digits, for goodness sakes. Edmonton's Shari Reiniger has quickly asserted herself as a premier voice as a coach, technical director, and commissioner with the World Baseball Softball Confederation. Most notably, she's been part of the crew that brought us both the 2023 and 2026 World Baseball Classic, amongst a host of other major international events. Reiniger does a great job of documenting her travels on her Instagram as well, so we thought it'd be a great opportunity to catch up when she got back home and talk about all of it. Here's our conversation with Shari Reiniger. Shari, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, great to see you as always, Joe.
It has been a while, and looking forward to catching up because you've had a very eventful last few weeks. And we'll start with the big one, maybe, the World Baseball Classic. You were there in Florida, taking it all in. Walk us through what you were doing, your day-to-day, and sort of your vantage point of what turned out to be a pretty fantastic event.
Yeah, what a great return to the Classic that I got. After working in 2023 in Taiwan, which was a great first-time way to, I guess, be the rookie of the team. 3 of us actually from that event were all assigned to work the entire Miami event. So from Pool D right through the final game. And so we work on a technical committee. It's called the Game Organizational Technical Committee. So we basically run the field. So for pregame as well as during the game, obviously we hand it over to the umpires, but dealing with anything from the rules side, technical side, making sure everything is set up and ready to go. And there's one person from MLB, one from the MLBPA, and then one as well from WBSC, who I was representing and appointed through. And then we have a technical assistant as well from Major League Baseball. So it's a really cool collaborative approach to running that technical piece, because obviously the MLB and MLBPA guys have relationships. They know these guys, they understand MLB protocols and the standards at Major League Baseball, but they don't have the experience running international events necessarily, or as much as we do, and looking at stadiums. So when we hit the ground running, and going to Lone Depot Park, and we're going to do a site visit, right? And you're like, okay, well, it's an MLB park, right? So we play MLB here, everything should be good. Well, let me tell you, we measured mounds, like literally with lasers, to make sure, like those mounds, whether it was on the field or in the bullpens, are perfect, like absolutely perfect. If they're a little high or a little low in a spot, they get fixed. So very, it's a very detailed process. And to see that at that level, it was really cool. Obviously little things, but a great crew. You don't have to worry about getting out there and doing any raking at an MLB event, like sometimes we do at our USC events. But being able to be there on the ground, getting it set up, and then welcoming the teams in for the team workouts was great. So we started with that. Each team gets their 90 minutes. So we just basically make sure everything's running on time, make sure the time goes up on the clock so they know where they're at. And then we just let them do their thing. you and I have talked previously, we know like at the professional levels, right? They've got their flow, and you don't want to, so we definitely sit back a little more at that level and just let them do their thing and just support them so that they can do what they need to do in their 90 minutes that day before the game. So that's where we started. And then, as you said, like our vantage point during a game, we were first row. We had first two rows just inside the third base, one section over from the third base dugout. So we had we had a couple of screens set up. So we had the live feed and the broadcast feed. We had the umpire supervisors sitting with us as well. So we could see everything on the field, and then we could see if anything, how it looked on broadcast after. And what a show. Like it was from game one all the way to the end. It was an incredible experience.
Is that something that the crew is aware of as it's going on? And you kind of got a glimpse of it in 23, and you and I were talking off air about it, is just a sense of like you could feel like there was some movement in 23, like, okay, this is becoming a thing. Like, did you sense pretty early on in this term that this is something special? Like, there's so many moments just in the prelims, let alone getting into the final eight and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say you could tell during BP, pregame BPs, the excitement level from the media that was there to just the guys having a blast, hitting bombs, right? Like, and just cheering each other on, and the brotherhood of these guys coming together from different countries, welcoming each other. I mean, a lot of these guys, played in the minor leagues together, right? Now they're facing off against one another, but they're still brothers off the field. That excitement was definitely there. Having Venezuela and Dominican and their crowd, their fan bases in that stadium. I mean, I knew it was going to be electric. My colleague from that was in Puerto Rico this time had worked the first round in Miami last time, and he's like, you won't be able to hear anything, right? Like you just won't be able to hear each other talk. And it's true. There were times it was just like, there were times where it's like, you're sitting there watching, say, especially this early in the series. And I'm a Braves fan. So, when Albies hit that grand slam, right? It's like, what? Like what just happened there, right? You're like, sometimes you forget, oh, wait a second, we're technical committee, but you're still a fan of the game, and seeing some of that stuff happen was just unreal. Or Dominican and the way they celebrated their home runs, right? It really brought the level of the culture of baseball and the global culture of baseball to Miami, which was cool because that's something I grew up in the U.S. I'm American, and we just don't have that. Even in Canada, don't on a day-to-day basis don't have that level of excitement and electricity. I think the Blue Jays have had that during the playoff runs. They've seen that. This was like a World Series level, like every day. Like it was incredible.
I can only imagine, and you could feel it too, even from my vantage point of on at my couch and watching, and even right up until the final and watching that final play out. And I know there's a video that you shot from that last pitch, and I'm curious. I could feel the emotion through the TV. What's it like being in the stands and watching that final out and watching that outpouring of emotion from that Venezuelan dugout and the pitcher and everything playing out the way it did?
It's unreal, actually. And having worked with Team Venezuela at their AAA level at our Premier 12 and working with their manager, Omar Lopez, like at that event as well in 2024, just, these guys are in it because they love their country, they love the game. But to see them win as a family, like that Venezuelan team, the Dominican team, they were families. And to show that brand of baseball and the heart that goes into that, yeah, it's the hair sticking up on your arms for sure. And just to see, I mean, being on the technical side and having been around the world with baseball and being very fortunate to see games in the Tokyo Dome, right? To work games in the Tokyo Dome, to work in Taichung, in the 23 Classic. But to see that emotion, it makes it all worth it, right? It makes it all worth it, and it makes, baseball is life, and it brings the world together. It really does, right? Like sport is the one thing that unites us all. And we saw it during the Olympics, right? During the Winter Olympics. But so it's moments like that it's not about even, I don't cheer for a team when I work any of our events. I'm not vested anywhere, but I want to see good teams, I want to see good teams do well and play the game the right way. But when that happens and everybody just erupts, I don't think there was anybody sad, or angry, right? Like it was just a great game. So pretty cool to be there and to get to, I didn't even focus on what was going on the field, right? To me, it was what's going on in the stands around us, and for everybody to feel that atmosphere, because broadcast is showing what's on the field, but feeling that emotion from their fans. I mean, people are crying, right? Like, but so were their team. So was, manager Lopez. Like those guys were highly emotional. It's an emotional moment, and it's great for the game.
Speaking of great for the game, and I know that you weren't cheering for anybody in particular, but you had to have been a little bit excited at the very least to see that Canada was making the trek up to the Final Eight and getting a chance to play in Florida. What's that like? What was the buzz in the room, so to speak, when you found out first off that Canada's getting there, and then obviously taking the U.S. as far as they did, and in a really competitive game?
Well, again, I think it's great for the game. There was a lot of parity in this World Baseball Classic. I mean, they were, even a team like Nicaragua lost a couple of pretty tight games, right? Just like they were, and they don't have near the roster, but they were there to compete. Israel was there to compete. So seeing Canada, it's like all of a sudden you're seeing, Canada had a little different schedule in Puerto Rico, right? So everybody else had already played a couple of games, and they were just finally got started. So kind of the late bloomers, just because of the way the schedule was set up. So to see them come back and not just come out of there, but come out of there on top, really, people started to take notice. And then going to Houston, where obviously in Houston, wow, what happened in Houston? I don't think anybody would have written that script, right? With Italy being the number one team. So who would have thought that Canada would win Puerto Rico and match up against the U.S., right? So it was pretty exciting, and they were in it right to the end. Like one more hit at the right time, or just that one untimely error. It's that's the game of baseball, but that's the cool part. Is it really could have been anybody's game. Right? When it came down to the end, it literally who could play the game that day or in that one moment is literally what it came down to.
On the flip side of that, I know that a lot of eyes are going towards 2028 in the Olympics, and I'm sure you kind of got that circled on your calendars as something you might be working in the not too distant future too. You don't necessarily know, but everybody's kind of talking, okay, next, whether it's 29, whether it's 30, but the next WBC, there's a little bit of talk about, hey, could Toronto maybe host a couple of games? How cool would that be in your eyes to see the WBC finally get back into Canada and have a few games here?
Hey, go for it. Like, the number one thing is, do you have a roof on your stadium? Because that always is going to make it easier to manage. Like in Miami and Houston, roofs were closed the entire time, even though, weather might have allowed us to play a couple of games with the roof open. But that would be, bring some different a level of excitement. It's a global game. So it was great to have Puerto Rico, a different host site. Again, they haven't hosted in quite a few, right? It was quite a while ago that they hosted an event. obviously there's also a dome now in Taipei City that,
Right.
and Taichung is now, it sounds like they're building a new dome as well. So yeah, that'll be up to the World Baseball Classic Inc. But it'll be exciting to see what they do with that. Now, the one thing I would say too, like I would love to see more international events hosted in Canada again, and even like this, a Premier 12 qualifier or something, to host something like that at Rogers would be pretty cool as well. You can put that bug in somebody's ear, would you?
Absolutely. I'll do my best. Well, we're on the show for a reason. Who knows who's listening at any given time. I mean, the other piece to that too, you mentioned different events, but it wasn't just WBC that you've been involved in as well. You had the Baseball Champions League in Mexico City as well over the last couple of weeks here. What was that experience like for you?
You know what? Great. Mexico City. Wow. What a beautiful stadium. Number one, Alfredo Harpelou Stadium, 20,000 seat stadium. They're welcoming MLB back again this year. So a great stadium, great operations staff there. Their grounds crew, obviously, and their grounds are second to none. It's a AAA plus stadium, whereas it really has the feel of a smaller MLB stadium there. But really cool. I got to go back again. So this is the second year in a row that I've been the technical director at that event. And it's the aim of the event is to bring professional league, kind of lower level, minor level professional league champions together to play against one another. So for these guys to play some international baseball, win their way out of their league and go to an international event. So great level of competition. We had obviously the home team was from LMB, from the Mexican League, and then we had a team from Cuba, a team from the American Association where the Goldeyes play, Winnipeg Goldeyes play. We actually had a team from Taiwan, Chinese Taipei. So the brothers from Taichung came over, and the Dontos from Nicaragua from their professional league, and we saw 94-98, off the bump. We also saw at 1.5 miles high, right? Like it's 1.5 miles high. Yeah. We also saw 98 mile an hour exit velocities going 430 feet, right? The ball flies. I think last year we were close to 50 home runs, and I don't think we broke 40 this year, but in 11 games, there were a lot of balls hit out of the park. So a lot of fun. A great stadium. There's some former major league guys, like last year Cano played for the Diablos, Rojos, obviously, so a lot of great fun, great competition, and hopefully something that they're going to grow. Actually, this year, WBSC has already announced that there will be a Baseball Champions League Europe starting. Okay. So they're going to run 14 pools in May, and then the top 2 teams from those pools will play, I believe it's in September. So you can check out the WBSC website for that. But, the hope is that eventually, obviously they want to have like a global champion, right? So it's just another way to experience international baseball in maybe something that's a little unexpected, and having these leagues that come together that play with their different rules, but it's still baseball, right? So we might see a few of those guys at our Premier 12 event, and some of the guys that were there had also been on World Baseball Classic rosters, but probably not starters, right? So they got their chance to shine, to compete. I think it helps, I was talking to the Nicaragua manager, and he just mentioned how, that event was elevating their level of play, because they don't often see 94-98 in their league. So they had to raise their game a bit. And it was early season, which is interesting. So obviously, you're going to get some more lopsided scores just because pitching isn't quite caught up to the hitters yet.
Yeah.
Plus the elevation, tough park to head in, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you think Colorado's a tough park, tough place to pitch. Go to Mexico City.
Mhm.
So bring your big hitters there. Now, that was so I believe LNB had agreed to host the first three. So I'm not sure where for next year's event, but at this point, we're looking forward to it being an annual type of event. What the format always looks like is a little different. Last year, we tested the 6-team model that has been approved for the system of play for LA for the
Right.
Olympics. So it's a little bit of a proving ground for us. It gives us a way to maybe trial some new either rules or regulations or even technologies at the BCL. So it's a place where we're like, okay, could we try this here and see
Mhm.
how that works in this environment at a pro level environment before we put it into our Premier 12, which is a more established, more traditional, or something like an Olympic Games.
It's funny listening to, because I remember here when we first chatted all those, it feels like all those years ago, and it makes me think like how crazy is it in your eyes to think back on the experiences that you've had, not just this last few weeks, but like over the course of the last 5 years, sort of thing, because it's been a wild ride. And you've seen some different parts of the world, you've seen some different levels of baseball. Like what's it like living in Sherry's shoes, so to speak?
Well, let me tell you, now you're going to make me a little reminiscent because the reason I'm here is because of a man named Jim Baba,
Hmm.
who we lost last fall. And in 2004, he phoned me up and said, "Hey, Edmonton's hosting the first ever Women's Baseball World Cup. Would you like to be on the technical committee?" And we call it commission, but
Hmm.
basically a technical committee. I'm like, "Well, what's that?" Right? So it started there, and then Jim just kept giving me new assignments. And yeah, so the last time we talked, I don't even remember if I'd been assigned, or I maybe had been assigned, but maybe hadn't been able to say it yet.
Right.
So I think I had just come back from Korea from the U18. That was in
Yeah.
2019. And when we were there, we were at the end of the event. We always get together as a technical committee and commission, and decide who the all world team is, right?
Hmm.
And who we're looking at for the most MVP and all of those things. So at the end of the event, at the end of the night, we're just kind of chatting, and Baba points to me and he's like, "Get over here." I'm like, "Uh-oh, what did I do?" Right? Getting called to the office. And he said, "I just want to tell you, you're going to the Olympics." And I'm like, whoa, like, I
Hmm.
literally had to put my hand down on the table and embrace myself, because when I started, and even until that point, okay, I'd worked a couple of U18s and I was assigned to a Premier 12 that fall. But the Olympics, that's a whole nother world. So
Hmm.
yeah, Olympic qualifier, an Olympic Games. I was the assistant technical director at our last Premier 12, ran a brand new stadium in Topeka. Literally, they opened the day before we started.
Hmm.
Great, beautiful stadium. Getting to run that, and then still go back and be a technical director at a Women's World Cup group stage in Japan. Uh, it's been a crazy crazy few years, including and I got to go back. I mean, I got to go back and coach at the World Children's Baseball Fair.
Hmm.
So it's been quite a ride. 2 World Baseball Classics now. If baseball ended for me today, I would say what a great journey it's been. But I'm hopeful that I'm still, I'm going to still be around. I was also appointed to the baseball technical commission for WBSC in 2022, and they haven't publicly announced the new commissions yet. So hopeful that my name is still there. But I've been able to now be a part of reviewing rules and regulations at the world level, as
Hmm.
well as we actually implemented a licensing program, and I helped to design and create a online licensing program. So we actually have an academy course, a virtual, it's like 10 or 11 hours of video with some, and then we get together with the person, we do a little bit of an assessment and have a conversation with them. And we're trying to find good people around the world, right? That want to not just do what we do at the world level, but that want to also give back at their local levels. So, if what we're doing at an international level can trickle down and give people some skills that they can help, whether it's Sherwood Park Minor Baseball, where I first started, or Baseball Calgary, or at Baseball Canada, then, the more of us there are working in the game and working the right way and sharing our skills, I think the better the game is going to be. So, in the end of this journey, I always say the baseball is amazing. Like you cannot replace the baseball, right? Like, yeah. Wow. Like to be able to see some of the games and some of the players, like at the Olympics, seeing J-Rod right before he goes pro, up to MLB, Tristan Cassis, like there were some amazing names there. Joe Adele was in 2019 at the Premier 12, right? Matt Shaw and Drake Baldwin at our last Premier 12. Like seeing that kind of stuff is incredible. But, to me, Joe, it's always about the people and the people that I get to work with, we get to meet, work with on and off the field. The people are always the best part. So that's, I think, again, the game brings us all together, right? From around the world. There are no politics when it comes to baseball. It's just baseball.
Absolutely. Final question for you, and that segues really well into it, is what's that meant to you to be able to have been able to represent Canada? I know you're an American, but you've got the Canadian thing too. What's that meant to you to have the Maple Leaf attached to you and be able to travel the world and provide your expertise to the baseball world and make it a better sport for everybody?
Yeah, well, I have lived in Canada for more years than I lived in the US now, right? So, and it's definitely an honor to represent Canada and to represent WBSC wherever I go. But to have come up through, the local organizations, Sherwood Park Minor Baseball, even St. Albert, when I was a groundskeeper for St. Albert Minor Ball, Baseball Calgary, Baseball Alberta, right? The experience I gained at Baseball Alberta was invaluable, both on the board as well as running the playoff committee and restructuring the league into what is now the league format. Invaluable. And then to be able to be on a committee at Baseball Canada was pretty amazing as well. But to be tapped on the shoulder and asked to represent Canada at the world level, and especially for baseball, I didn't get to play the game growing up. I coached it a little bit. I always loved it. I just got really involved with it after college. And so to be able to do that and represent Canada and also represent women in the game is quite a blessing for me. And now for me to be able to carry Jim's torch forward, especially finally being inducted into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, which most of us wish could have happened while he was still here on this earth. But I know he preferred that his name was never, he was never the guy that wanted to be on the stage accepting an award. He wanted to be the one handing it out. And so now to be able to just walk in his footsteps and take his baton and carry it as far as we can, because he meant everything to baseball in Canada, but he meant everything to baseball around the world as well. So that to me is the ultimate honor.
Well, it's been really fantastic to get to catch up with you. Also fantastic to watch your world travels live vicariously through your social media channels as well. Shari, always a pleasure getting a chance to catch up with you. Thank you so much for taking some time to join us here on the show today.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. And you have a great baseball season. You guys are just kicking up. So I know it's gonna be a good one in Alberta and Saskatchewan for you.
Thanks again to Declan O'Kane, Ryan Kucy, and Shari Reiniger for joining us this week, and thanks to all of you for downloading and listening. If you like this or any other episode of the show, make sure to leave us a rating and review on your app. And we gotta say, it has been a record-setting month already for downloads, which is all thanks to you and your efforts in sharing episodes each and every week. A tip of the cap, as always, to our Platinum supporters, the Okotoks Dogs, Under the Light Sports and Entertainment, and the Western Canadian Baseball League for all they do and their generosity in helping us tell the game stories in our province. For more on our incredible partners, head to albertadugoutstories.com/supporters. Until next time, thank you for all of your support online, on social, and on air of Alberta Dugout Stories.